Welcome to another episode of Dollar Dorks. This is episode 19. On this podcast, we aim to share video game buying and selling tips, give suggestions for games to watch out for, provide tips on how to fund your collection with your collection, and hopefully to change the perception that some people have of sellers of the video game collecting community. With me today again is my co-host Chris, CWR2, and Rich, the single banana, is our guest. I am Derek of Two Dorks. Anything new going on, Chris? No conventions recently, or?
No conventions, but I kind of took like a month off from seriously shopping, like swap meets and yard sales. I've done a little thrifting, but not much. But I got back at it this last couple weeks. And
Let's say it was a good couple weeks, though.
Yeah, been tearing it up, man. Every time I hear someone say there's nothing out there, I'm just like, oh, you're right, there's nothing out there. Stay home. There's nothing out there.
Do you live in my area? Good. Yes, there's nothing.
Right.
Nice. Yeah, I keep seeing you posting more and more stuff. All right. Oh, looks like good stuff, too. We'll talk about that later, probably. All right. First section is your last noteworthy pickup, deal, purchase, sale. Anything you want to talk about, highlight? Starting off with Chris.
All right. I have like several stories from Saturday, but I'll just start off with a good highlight. I had went yard selling, and I'm going to touch on that a little bit later because it kind of leads into something else. But so after that, I got home. It was like, usually on Saturdays I own the yard sale, but every now and then on the way home, I'll stop at this one swap meet called the Cherry Auction. And, I don't know why I didn't stop on the way back. I must have forgot. I got home, I have everything unloaded, and I'm just sitting there and I'm thinking, man, I gotta go back. I mean, why not? Because the last time to go back to the previous Tuesday, okay, I'm referring to Saturday when I say, yesterday. This is when we're recording on Sunday. So I went on a Saturday yard selling, went to the swap meet after. But if I go back to Tuesday when I went to the Cherry Auction during my lunch break, which, I'm getting there at typically around 9:30, and actually that day I got there at 10:30 because I did some extra work. And I found like this, it's kind of like a video, what is it? A video mixer, and it's made by Roland. I think that was the brand name. And apparently those things are very valuable because, so I'm standing there, right, and I've done walk through the swap meet once. I hadn't got to this section of it yet, so I got to it, and as I'm walking up, this is a very common. This guy's always there, and you know what they do? Their game is they must buy storage lockers because there's just too much variety in what they have and the way it's all laid out. And it's hit and miss. Sometimes you score really good. Most of the time it's crap. But if you really, and the way it's organized in rows, but you kind of have to you really have to look because it's just, they're just dumping out boxes, right? So as I see this gentleman with something in his hand, and I kind of peek over his shoulder a little bit, and I notice that video mixer, and I don't really have any. I didn't know anything about it, but I know money when I see it. So I'm sitting there staring at it, and I'm thinking, man, just put that down. So, and I'm really, I'm like, well, how much is it really worth? Because I want to see if this is really worth my time, because sometimes stuff does look good, but it's actually cheap. So he's flipping it around, and I'm catching the model, and finally I got the make, and I'm looking it up, and it's like, oh, okay. Put the phone back in my pocket. Now I kind of circled around him. I'm looking at something next to him. I'm just waiting for it because I know he's not going to buy it, but I just don't know how long he's going to fuck around. Finally, he sets it down, and I'm not even being polite about it. I just grab it right up. Right? I don't even care. A lot of times I'll wait till they kind of get out of sight so they don't feel so bad. I didn't even care. I just grabbed it. In case he changed his mind, I just grabbed. I wouldn't even care if he was going for his phone. You know what I mean? You set it down, buddy. This is the swap meet. This Fresno. You know what I mean? We're not very polite. So I grabbed it, go right to the guy selling it. I'm like, all right, so how much? And he's like, give me an offer. And I'm like, all right, $5. And he goes, oh, that's too low. So I'm thinking he's gonna come back for 20, which would have been fine. I would have bought it when I saw how much it sold for. And he said 10. So I was like, hey, there you go. Here you go. Bam, $10. Give me a bag. Gave me a bag. Bagged it up. Got home. Within an hour, it sold. like $237, man. You know what I mean? It was just like sweet. It was a nice score, so it got me. So anyway, so I get back home Saturday, and I'm thinking, man, I got to go back out there. There's going to be some more electronics out there or something. Now, mind you, I'm getting there. It's like 1:30. So I decided to start on that side of the swap meet this time to see if that guy had brought more stuff out. He normally is not there on Saturdays. He wasn't there on this Saturday, apparently. Anyway, so I'm making my way through. I end up on the other side, which is actually my preferred side because it's more yard sale vibe. The other side has that, but it's kind of mixed in. It's mixed in with a lot of new crap. So if you want toilet paper, there it is. If you want shampoos and DirecTV satellite services, you can get all that over there. But they don't have as many yard sales type booths. So anyways, get over there. I'm looking, it's like, man, Halo Edition Xbox is sitting on the ground. And like, this guy is always high on everything. So I figured that's why it was still sitting there at 150. And I'm like, how much you want for this? Oh, $10. I'm like, I'm not even gonna haggle with you, man. Here you go. I don't even care if it don't work. I know if it don't work, I'm gonna get at least 50 for it. You know what I mean? And now it works perfect. So now I'm fighting, talking myself into keeping it. It already looks really nice. And then I looked up.
It's the one I got sitting right here on my shelf.
And it's like you can still get $100 shipped on a black one. Apparently, the market's trending up. So if you got some Xboxes sitting around and they're working, and it was like one with the controller, 2 controllers, a standard Xbox, 2 controllers, and all the parts was like $50 plus 50 shipping, which it don't cost $50 to ship. You could put that in a large flat rate and ship that out for 18. So, you know, there's still like you'll make about $75 on it right now. But anyway, so that was my Thursday/Saturday adventure, or at least part of it.
And today's Monday, by the way.
Right.
You had a holiday today, as you said.
Oh shit! Yeah, it was a holiday. I felt like it's sun and football's on, and you know you're not supposed to know that, but Drew Brees is going for the record. He already passed Brett Favre, so he's right on the heels of Peyton Manning right now.
I think we should get to 5-minute score updates. That'd be nice.
Well, it's 13-6, and he just threw a long pass. They're down to the 10. NFL, don't sue us for.
Yeah. Luckily, this will be way out of date, so it's fine.
Anyway.
Right. You didn't mention your note here about Virtual Boy. I don't know if you forgot it or you wanted to mention it still.
Well, I didn't know if I went too long there. Yeah, I also got a Virtual Boy. I paid up a little bit for it. I mean, it's I look at
it had a third of the library with it.
You had a what?
A third of the library.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I'm just like, well, shit. I mean, over a third. It's 5 out of 14 games. Yeah. I mean, we're damn near at the 50% mark. And the only game that's the common one, obviously, is Mario Tennis, which you almost expect to get that. I'd almost been insulted if you didn't give me a Mario Tennis. But really clean. Apparently, it's been sitting out there. He's been asking 190, which is you can still make a slight profit off of that, considering one of the games is Tetris 3D. I know I can get about $100 for that alone. So there was still money to be made at that, but you know, I've put on a little bit of the charm, I guess, and. You know, like, so when he said 190, because a buddy of mine tipped me off that it was still out there. He works at the swap meet. And I was like, why didn't you buy it? And he goes, I don't know, you know, like, whatever. And I was like, okay. Because he sells, but he's terrible with eBay. He doesn't ship out on time, and he's always getting strikes, and I don't know, he's just bad. But, so I saw it, and I've dealt with this guy before. So anyways, when he said 190, I was like, man, my friend said it was 150. Oh yeah. Who's your friend? Like Mark, and he's like, oh yeah. Well, if you know him, it's 150. I was like, if I know him, I know you. And he's like, oh yeah. And then, so it's like Mark didn't tell me anything. I just threw it out there just to fuck with him a little bit. So he went right down to 150, and even then I was on the fence. And then I was like, 150. And he goes, you know what? I'll do 120. I'm like, you know what? All right, I'll do 120. I'll do that because I could. Sell just the unit for 120 plus shipping and sell the games off individually. Make a good couple. I got it up high right now, though. I matched there was a completed sale recently for 450 with 3 games, and one of the games was Tetris 3D. So I just matched it, and they're getting 2 bonus games. I put our best offers, so we'll see. Got a lot of watchers. Already got like 8 watchers right now, so I don't know. Whatever. I'm looking to make a nice little score on it.
All right, sounds good. Rich, anything you want to mention for sale or purchased or?
Yeah, I picked up a pretty nice item the other day. Out at a local spot, sort of a used media store that I frequent quite often. It's not far from where I work. They have this really strange habit of getting the prices from like eBay, but they charge like if you find something complete like a Sega Genesis game or a Nintendo game, they're only going to charge you the price for the cart. And I happened to find a copy of Time Killers for Sega Genesis. It was in their case. Started looking it up on my phone while I was there. Realized that, wow, this thing goes for a pretty penny. Had to pull it out of the case. It was complete. It was a rental at one time, so, it had some sticker residue on it and a little tear on the label, which I'm not really concerned about. But I was able to pick that up for about $35, which is a steal on that game, and you never see that game come up. So that's probably my best pickup in, probably quite a while. I don't do like you guys. I don't hit a lot of yard sales. I got 3 kids. I don't have time for that. And, the bad thing about pawn shops around here is that, it's that it used to be several years ago that you'd go in and all the games would be one price, a few bucks here, a few bucks there. Just depending on what system they came with, they might be more or less. Usually the retro games are a lot cheaper, but, they've started to look up prices now. They realize people are kind of getting the slip on them, and it's not even worth checking out those places most of the time for me. So, try to hit some Goodwills, try to hit some, I guess it's called Savers in some places, but
I love that place.
They're also owned by Value, or they own Value Village.
Yeah, it's Value Village. It's Value Village here. Yeah,
and Unique is another name for the same company, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But that's probably my best score lately. Did pick up a copy of Nex Machina today. I was off for Columbus Day, so able to find that limited run game at a really good price. One of my buddies owns a video game store, and so I got a nice price on that. Probably saved about $20 from when it's going online, so it's good.
Nice. Not bad. All right. On to me. I picked up a JFJ Easy Pro resurfacer off Amazon.ca for $197 with tax. That's basically, I've got a giant stack, like 4 stacks of discs that I've come across in bulk buys that are just scratch discs that I need to fix up. So I've always been meaning to buy a resurfacer and never really did the plunge, made the plunge just to get one. So finally did that because I was up a bunch of money from selling used or modded Xboxes. So bit the bullet and picked up a $200 thing, and now I've got to go through all my discs and clean them up. I did about 5 of them already, and it worked out pretty good, just learning how to use the machine and stuff. One of them was really badly scratched, so I thought I'd see how it worked on that, and the disc plays now, so... And that was a PS2 game. So use the investment to make some more money, clear out some of the crap I have piled up. And then I also picked up an NES Classic with 2 controllers, 2 extensions, and an SNES Classic all together for $150 Canadian for those both systems. I'm probably going to keep it. I thought about selling them, but kind of showed my son. He's like, wants to play some old NES games and SNES games. I already have them all emulated anyway, but those little systems are just, nice and small and look good on the shelf and probably the best emulation you're going to find for it, so why not? And then I also picked up, I don't think I mentioned this last month, but I picked up 14 sealed original Xbox games for $40. Altogether, they're worth over 220 US. I paid 40 Canadian. The guy just wanted them gone. He had no real concerns at all about selling all this stuff. The main highlight, or the one that really pays for it all, was Silent Hill 4: The Room. That's the best one out of them, their highest value one out of them, and pays for the rest. So there's quite a few though, and some duplicates, but I don't mind as long as they sell. None of them have sold yet on eBay. I only listed about half of them, so list the rest.
So whenever you really get down to listing, how much time do you usually do you set aside time, or is it just kind of you get rolling and go
Most
until
of the
you're burned
time.
out?
So there's that one time that I actually pulled out my lights and started photographing stuff. But even when I did that, I didn't actually list that night. I just later would, a couple listings per night, or every once in a while I just, do like 3 listings off that. Typically what I do is I take a couple games with me to work because my lighting at work is good and my desk is white. So I take those games, set them on my desk, use little sticky notepads. I got 2 sticky notepads I use to prop them up just so there's no reflection on the front. And snap the photo, flip it over, snap the photo, open it up, snap the photos, flip the disc over, snap the photos, and then list a couple there. Usually when I do that, I get 1 to 5 listed at any given time. But yeah, I need to list more. I always have tons of stuff to list and don't list enough of them. But
yeah, that's my problem.
yeah, like we said before, when I list, I usually find that I sell within that day or a couple days after.
Sometimes I'll set up listings. I don't have time to really get into it, but maybe I got something going for, like I want to take all the pictures, right? I don't really feel like filling out all the information, so I'll clone all the ads for what I'm going to do, and then just go through and take all the pictures and just hit save, and just have them all like in drafts. Yeah. I mean, it seems like it's easier just to do it all at once, but you know how it is when you over here doing one thing, then you go take the picture, then you do that. Sometimes, I don't know. And not only that, there's another, I guess this could have went into the tip corner, but, like when I went to, Game On Expo, I had a bunch of games I wanted to sell, but because I'm really, and it's more self-imposed than anything else, but I'm really strict. Like when people buy stuff before a certain time on that day, I'll ship it out that day. And I even have that in my listings. So, I didn't want to list them that morning or the night before and then have them sell on that Friday because I don't ship on the weekends and I also put that in my listings. So I just had them all in drafts, and as soon as that 1:00 moment hit when we were on the road, then I was just like publish. So then I had all the money to spend at the convention and didn't have that stress. I just shipped them out Monday morning and everybody's happy. What I mean?
Just so you know, things in draft do eventually delete themselves. But it's like 90 days or something. So
Right.
I've only had that happen twice.
Yeah. Well, I'm actually talking about if you're going to do it within the next
within a
day
week or so. Yeah.
Right. I'm not talking like do it and wait 3 months or something.
Yeah, that's what I did twice now.
Well,
the Furby's one of them, and that was just a clone of someone else's ad, so it doesn't really matter.
Right, yeah, you didn't really put much work in it.
No, I did not. It was just supposed to be a reminder for myself to do it, which did not work out well. All right, next section, what are you selling? Anything you've got for sale on eBay, Kijiji, next swap meet, considering selling soon even. We kind of already talked a little bit about this, but you got anything, Rich?
Yeah, I've got a huge bag of classic G.I. Joe's figures. 1982. Yeah, I got a huge bag. 1982 to 1987. I used to collect them all. Went for a complete set and everything. All the weapons, all the stands, file cards, and yeah, man, I'm just trying to unload them. So
I'm looking for a Cobra Commander.
I might have one. I don't know. I did sell some.
It don't matter if it's the cloth or the shield. Either one, I'm down for.
Okay. All right.
And also Zartan, pretty much any dreadnoughts. I mean, I have like 3, but Zartan, some of the oddball dreadnoughts.
I'm pretty sure Zartan's gone. I may have a few of the dreadnoughts. I might have Thrasher.
I have the Thunder Machine. He's pretty common, but I mean, that's me trying to talk you down. Yeah, it's really cheap.
Yeah. I'll get you a list together. But yeah, I've had this bag for years now. It's just sitting there. I'm just like, that's just money on the floor, man. Like I got to get it out there. But I don't know, toy collectors, man. Some of those toy collectors can be a finicky bunch, and they're tough to deal with.
Oh, 100%, man. I mean, they want to know the joints. They want to know if especially with GI Joes, those little rubber bands on the inside, have they been replaced? And yeah, I know some hardcore Joe collectors. I'm just like, I can't get in that world, man. I like the ones that I owned as a kid, and I kind of I'll sit them on the shelf and stare at them, and then, I'll feel good for a minute, and that's that. I got a really clean Destro off a guy on Instagram. I don't know if he knew what it went for, but he sold it to me for like $5 shipped, and I'm like, shipped? It's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. I mean, it's not like super expensive, but I mean, I think it's about a $25, $30 figure with the little briefcase and the gun and everything.
Yep.
It's like, all right, yeah, let's go ahead. Yeah, I'll take that.
Are you thinking of listing them individually or in a bulk lot, or what do you? Take out the good ones and then bulk lot the rest.
Well, it would be more beneficial to list them individually. I'd make more money doing it that way, but then bulk lot would save me a lot of aggravation. So I may do that. I don't know. We'll just have to see how it goes. I'd rather just sell them off to people I know. Like I said, I just hate dealing with toy collectors and worrying about people wanting to return stuff. I mean, they're all in great condition. These aren't like these are ones that I bought when I was collecting, not when I was a kid. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
So they're all in great condition, but oh man, just dealing with that community is something I never look forward to. So yeah.
This just saying, Drew Brees just broke the all-time NFL career passing record.
All I heard was blah blah blah.
Almost 80,000. He's almost at 80,000 yards. He just passed Peyton Manning. Anyway.
I also have a
and
bunch
he threw a touchdown too. Go ahead.
I also have a bunch of board games that I need to get rid of, and I think I've been telling Chris I'm going to get with him on those for months now.
I forget, and every now and then you bring them up, and I'm like, okay, I remember Forbidden Bridge, but wasn't it missing a piece? I don't know. All right, man, tell me whatever.
Big list of the pieces that are missing. Yeah, I do have Forbidden Bridge and some other of those. So those 90s mechanical games that are pretty cool. So, yeah.
Well, I like the Forbidden Bridge because it was featured on Board Games, and I coincidentally have a bunch of those games that I don't really think I've ever even shot for any of them just because he showed them, but it's kind of neat when you watch those videos and you're like, oh shit, I do have Key to the Kingdom. I didn't even know that was a board game. I got that at a yard sale for like 75 cents, and it was missing, I don't know, a couple of cards in this, and I bought them on eBay, ended up flipping the extras. I'm actually in a profit on it, and I wasn't even trying to. I was just trying to complete the game, I still haven't even played it. But it's really neat. It's really cool, though. I thought it was religious, because a buddy of mine, Adam, he chimed in right away. Dude, that's cool. I used to play that as a kid. He's kind of a holy roller. So I was like, oh, shit. What did I get, like some sort of Bible game or something? And Keys to the Kingdom, you know what I mean? But it turns out it's actually pretty cool. It's like, like King Arthur type stuff, I guess.
He's cooler than you thought he was.
Oh, no, he's a way cool dude. I just didn't know he had cool toys, that's all.
Yeah, board games are one of those things that, that's a tough area to get into, man, because unlike video games where I don't have a problem breaking them up and selling like a box or a manual or something like that a lot of the times, if I don't collect it, board games, it's like, I feel horrible, like, if I, like, try to break them down and sell pieces, I'm like, what am I going to do with this box? But then boxes are such a pain in the butt to ship because of the, they cost so much because of the length, but they weigh nothing, so it's a headache, man. I wish I wouldn't have gotten into doing that. I thought I was going to be able to break them up and make some money, but I'm just like, I just can't separate this stuff,
Yeah, it's hard. Sometimes the parts are not more valuable than the whole thing, but the price, the profit margin is better.
Yeah,
you sell like if you sell some pieces out of it, you actually make more money because it costs less to ship it than if you shipped it whole. Then you know what I mean? Like it ends up costing you about the same, and you're making, you know what I mean? It's less of a pain in the ass. You're right though. Like a buddy of mine, when I got what's it, that Volcano Island, or I don't know, that big one.
Yeah. Oh man, what is that called?
Oh. Which I'm talking about.
Yeah, they just did a Kickstarter for it. Yeah.
Well, that was I got the original, but anyway.
The original. Yeah. Fireball Island.
Fireball Island.
Yeah.
This motherfucker is huge. I mean, it's like.
Oh yeah.
I stacked up. I put a Nintendo next to it in a picture to kind of show a point of reference, or you know what I mean, or like the scale. Scale. There you go, scale. And it was like, I think I could have fit maybe 6 Nintendos in front of it, and it still would have hung out a little bit, like stacked, maybe even bigger than that. I don't know. It was huge. And
the only person in the world that measures by Nintendo consoles.
Yeah. Well, we got enough, I thought about measuring my kid's height by Nintendo consoles,
Might as well do your own.
There's Super Mario Brother Duck Hunt cartridges. Measuring by those.
Yeah.
And I got 14 more coming in the mail. Man, when you put these pictures out there, it's amazing how generous people are. This guy hits me up and he's just like, hey, and I made like a tweet about it, kind of jacket, like this is what happens when someone slides into my DMs, and it was like, hey, I got some Mario for you, and I'm like, oh yeah, and then he sends me a picture, and it's like, I thought he meant like a Mario Kart. It was like 14 of them. I'm like, cool, and he's shipping up from Canada. It's like, man, that should probably cost him like $30 or something to ship that damn thing. It's like, damn, man.
It's probably just going to be a picture of his pecker with a Mario hat on it when you open the box.
Hey, man, you got to roll the dice when you want to. You're collecting,
For the games, yeah.
Right.
All for the games.
And, it's worth the risk.
I do.
All right, this is on to me now. I've got a Korg KR Mini Rhythm Machine that I picked up at a Value Village for under $12. Looks like it's worth 60 to 80 sold listings. It's currently posted locally on Kijiji, which is kind of like Craigslist. But I got to post it on eBay because it'll probably sell better there. It's just kind of like a little rhythm machine. You hit buttons and make rhythms, or there's predefined ones, that kind of stuff. For people who need a rhythm to play guitar along to or sing with, like it's basically a drum machine. Or if you wanted to use it for making music as kind of like a background beat or something. It's neat. I picked it up thinking I might play with this, and then I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing.
It could be like that older brother on Napoleon Dynamite,
Yeah.
drum machine.
Yeah.
It's even got a speaker built in, so you don't need to have it hooked up to anything at all. It'll just play through the speaker. And it's got an input for pedals, so you can control the beats and change beats with the pedals if you have pedals. And then I think a microphone might even come into it. I don't remember. There's a headphone out, I know that. But I tested it out in the store. There was batteries in it. It was, good find. Chris, what do you got? Lots of stuff.
So we're talking eBay, right? So recently, that day, I got a bunch of Super Nintendo cards, which I'll talk about in a little bit. Got a bunch of them, so I got a bunch of that listed up. Probably, I don't know, what was it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I don't know, like 5 or 6 listings for just Super Nintendo games. Just put an iPod Classic up for $20. It's one of the smaller ones, but that's something you really want to look for is the iPod Classics, especially the bigger gigabytes, like the 120s, like those things. That's like $150. You know what I mean? If they're working properly, and I'm talking no plugs, no head, just the unit. So anytime you can grab those, grab them. Even if they're not working, they still got value. And sprinkler timers, that was something else that I picked up. Of course, I know I've talked about that before in the podcast, but now it's probably not the optimal time to be selling them. It's usually kind of going into summer or spring, but it doesn't matter. I mean, they're going to sell. I'd stick them on there. They can sit there. I don't care if they're on there till next spring. It doesn't cost me anything to sit there. I just put them in a box, but I'm not going to pass them up for $2.50 a piece. He wanted $3 a piece, and I don't know. I couldn't help myself and was like, hey, we do 5 for both. He's like, oh, yeah, just take them. And then I went to the swap meet, and there was another one sitting there. So I was like, I guess it. And I ended up passing on one for $4, and I thought back later, I'm like, I don't know what the hell I was thinking. It's just like, I was all snooty about it because it's like $4? Fucking crazy. I'm paying $2.50 a piece over here, But, I just left $30 behind because of that, but I don't know. I guess you can't take it all. Yeah, and something I didn't realize had shot up, which I had a feeling, that's why I grabbed it, but the fishing controller for the Dreamcast, it looks like it's going for about $35, so I picked one up for $3. So I'm like, yeah, I would have passed up on it anyway, even if it really wasn't selling for a lot, because that'd be a pretty good trade item, but today I went to a game store, And apparently, I don't know if he's looking to get out or what, but the brother was in charge, and he's just like, "What do you want? Buy it. I don't care." So he gave me a power glove for $20 and what the hell was the other? Oh, and this chainsaw controller for the PlayStation 2 for Resident Evil. It's missing the cord, but apparently it's not that big of a deal for $10. And gave me these God of War posters that must have been sort of like, I don't know if they were GameStop or some sort of game store promo posters, because they're all official. Cool. Have like that 3D, like that, like those, what do you call it, like a raised map vibe to it, because it kind of comes off. It's a plastic. It's really neat. I don't know what they're worth because I couldn't find any comparables, but I'm not leaving them behind for $2 a piece. He still has more back there. I probably should have just bought them all. I'll probably regret it later. But so those will go up, and I just sold a camera, which Canon's always good. I got a PlayStation 2 Slim. Those are always $50. You're gonna make $50 on those all day.
You said that last one sold pretty quick.
Oh, it's so quick. This one. It hasn't sold as quick. I got watchers on it. I mean, this is probably that time of the month but it'll sell. I know. I actually raised it up a little bit. I added shipping to it, so if I knocked the shipping off, it would sell. Got the Virtual Boy up. I'm up to 8 watchers on it right now, so that's probably gonna go. Anyway, just some other random crap. Check it out. CWR74. Buy something. Christmas is coming up. Don't buy anything from Derek because it's in Canada. He'll charge you a lot in shipping.
I just don't list it available in the
US
at all. Done. All right, cool. All right, tip corner is next. Any kind of buying, selling tips, or anything people do that annoys you, or where to find deals. You have something to say already. Good, because I don't. I can't remember anything. I can't think of anything right now. I'll keep thinking. Starting off with Chris.
Well, go ahead. Start with him. I just talked.
All right, go ahead, Rich.
Yeah, go ahead, Rich. Let's do that.
All right. Well, first of all, don't buy board games. I think I've already mentioned that. You'll be stuck
unless you're Chris,
years.
then buy them.
Yeah, please. But I do a lot of repair work and collecting of pinball and arcade machines as well. And so I deal with those people, and I think one of the worst things that I ever hear someone say is, "What's your bottom price?" I think that annoys me more than anything as a seller.
And that's why I love saying that as a buyer.
What's your bottom price?
What's the lowest? Come on, man. What's the lowest?
Yeah. Most people don't answer that honestly, even if you ask it.
I swear, man, I get such good prices when I do that. It's one of my moves, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
It is a good way to get them to be honest with you. Most people won't answer that unless they've been doing this a long time, right?
Right, you're right. I've had some skilled people who flip it back around. It's like, well, what's
and
the
you know you're going to get that when you're talking to the guy. You know he's that kind of guy that's been doing it for a while.
Yep.
Right.
So that's the pet peeve, huh? I will not ask you that.
Yeah,
when we're talking to board games, I'm gonna ask what's the highest you'll take. You'll go into it and start talking about my kid's Christmas and everything. How poor I am.
All right, Chris, what do you got?
All right, I know I've talked about this before, but man, I can't stress it enough, man. You always got to ask. Always ask if they have stuff. Always ask. About 5 of the good items I got this weekend, except for the swap meet stuff, were I asked them. They did not have it out. And I know I've said this before. I've had to, but I mean, you can't even imagine how much good stuff I've gotten over the stuff that was actually there. You know what I mean? Like, I've gotten better stuff out of their house than I have out of their yard. And you know what? And even when they tell me, no, we don't have that, I always follow it up with, are you sure? And I'm telling you, that works. They're like, well, you know, I do have this, I don't know, this box of Nintendo stuff. Yeah, that stuff you're asking about? Yeah, I do have that. You know what I mean? Like, oh, okay, the first 2 times I asked, you didn't have it, but now all of a sudden you do. It's like you jog their memory, or I don't know if it's disarming or what it is, but always ask. And And then when listing, man, like, I know I've talked about this before too, but I just was schooling my brother on this earlier, but, man, take good photos and take 12 photos, unless it's something that doesn't have 12 sides to it, or there's not 12 ways to look at it. When you're listing, use the photos, they're free, get 12. There's no reason not to, because there's so many times I'm trying to buy something on eBay, and Rich, you know about this, because I was consulting with you on that Montezuma's Revenge.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all they had to do was show me the back of the cart, and I would have knew exactly what it was. I had a feeling it was what it was. That's why I was interested. But all they had to do was show the back of the cart, and I wouldn't even, it would have been a quicker sale. I mean, I still ended up buying it, but you know what I'm saying. It would have just been, like, instant.
More confident buy, yeah.
Right, yeah. Now it's like, if she sends it, and it's not what I think it is, I'm sending it back. You know what I mean? It's not going to match the description, because it couldn't have been... Unless she does a bait and switch with it, it had to be the Atari 2600 version. It couldn't have been the Coleco, and it can't be the 5200, because I've done too much comparison on it. It can't be, because for one, it doesn't look wide enough, which maybe the picture was distorted, but when she showed the bottom, it was really thin and not thick. The 5200 has a thick rim around it, and the 2600's thin. But if she would have showed the back, I would have known 100% it wasn't Coleco, because they have that little part where you could slide in the
overlay.
The overlays. Right, the overlays, they have that little lip in the back that you could slide in overlays. So I would have known 100%. So it's like, lady, you already took 2 pictures. One more picture would have been complete. And not only that, why wouldn't you show the back of it? It could have a big ass crack in the back of it. You know what I mean? Why not show it? You know what I mean? Take the picture.
And I can't remember, do Parker Brothers games, do they have that as well, though? Since that was a Parker Brothers game?
Well, the other thing is on the inside of it, there was some differences. Okay, you know how, like, when you put an Atari card in, it pushes something in, those little prongs go in?
Yeah.
And on the ColecoVision, it won't. So it had the prongs or whatever, you know what I mean? So it'll go in. Like, when you try to stick a ColecoVision in an Atari, it won't work. Yeah. Like, it won't go all the way in. But when you do it into an Atari, it will.
Yeah. And as I was telling Chris,
I'm not sure about that Parker Brothers, because I sold on my Parker Brother Coleco, so I was pretty sure it had it, but I'm not 100%. That's why it showed me the damn back. It might say ColecoVision on the back and not Atari 2600, or it might have said Atari 2600 on the back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and for people listening, the best way to tell a ColecoVision cart from a 2600 cart is really to look at the bottom of it. The bottom of a 2600 cart, it's more in a rectangular shape, but with a ColecoVision game, not a 2600 game made by Coleco, but a ColecoVision game actually has a trapezoidal shape to it.
Yep, and you know, that was the other thing.
And that was blue there.
Right. Yeah, and I actually forgot that, because I haven't had many ColecoVision games sitting around for a while, but when you said that, I was like, oh, that's right, and I started comparing pictures on that, and you could definitely see exactly what you were talking about, and that's a kick-ass shirt, by the way.
Oh, thanks, man.
I love that album. Yeah, that's a badass album, man. Yeah.
Oh, it's not lit. Have you looked at it, though?
Oh, okay. Well, hey, either way, that's one of my. I think that's my favorite. That might be my favorite Metallica album. I don't know. It's between that and Ride the Lightning. I don't know.
Oh yeah, I love Ride the Lightning too. Yeah.
Yeah, those
like Kill 'Em All though.
Kill 'Em All's good too, but I have to put that after the other two. But anyway, each his own.
All right, we're done that section. Yeah. Oh no, I didn't do a tip. Yes. So I just went through some of my recent emails with people through Kijiji, and something I wanted to share was to keep an eye out or don't ignore wanted ads on Kijiji in the video game section, because I made a sale recently of 2 broken PS4 controllers I had laying around. I thought about fixing them, but I could not figure out why they don't turn on. You plug them in, they don't charge, but you press the button to connect to the console, and the light flashes like they're connecting, then they never connect. I even tried using them with PC, and they still wouldn't work. So a guy posted an ad looking for broken controllers for PS4. He's going to use for parts and fix up ones or something like that. So I contacted him. He came over and he gave me $25 for the 2 broken controllers. And I mean, they were just laying here taking up space for me.
Yep.
I maybe could have used it for parts down the road, but I don't even have a PS4. So it's less likely I'm going to use it anytime soon. So.
And you know what happens with that? You talk yourself into hoarding. Maybe I'll use it. Maybe I'll use it. Next thing you know, you got like 9 million things you may use. You got a whole room full of things that I'm not saying that I do, but I do. I have a whole spare room full of things that maybe I'll use.
Yeah, there you go.
Huge box of 5,200 controllers. Yep.
Yeah, they'll never work.
No.
Yeah, I got broken Xbox One controllers, broken Xbox 360 controllers. I don't need more broken controllers and parts for controllers.
And you know the thing with Xbox One and PS4, I would think that the market is probably would drop out on broken controllers before it goes back up. So if you can get $25 for a couple, I'd sell them now rather than trying to sell them later. I mean, there might be a point in 5 years where they go up or something, but there's so many of them out there. Why would somebody want to waste their time? You know what I mean? Like
360 controllers are an example. They're more desirable because they connect to PC as well if you got the adapter, so they're more commonly used, and they're still not really shot up in price. They're a solid price, but they're not high. GameCube's obviously the exception, that they're special because a lot of competition. Competitive games.
And the fact that the Wii U had the adapter, and there's a suspicion that maybe the Switch might have the adapter.
Very special case there, yeah.
Right.
So the other thing was somebody, I was actually showing a friend, Creepleet, Josh, all the games I had for sale because he came over and he said, hey, there's someone on Kijiji locally that wants that game. So I went on Kijiji, found the ad, messaged the person, made a sale the next day, and it's a girl I had dealt with 3 times before. So sale because of the wanted ad again. And it was all because he had already seen the wanted ad, so that's good. Keep an eye out for the wanted ads.
I've been going back and forth with this girl who's selling a heavy sixer, and she has like a pretty decent lot of Atari games to go with it, but one of them's Custard's Revenge, so that's obviously a premium one, even though there's a guy locally who's flooding the market with sealed, and I'm actually going to try to track him down. There's sealed Custard Revenge coming out of Fresno. I saw it on, and he's selling for like $75 a piece or whatever. Well, it says $79 or best offer, but I'm going through the completed sales, so he's taking pretty much anything over $70, he's taking them. So I already messaged him saying, hey, if I bought it, could I pick it up locally? And he's like, yeah. So I'm kind of dancing around it. I'm going to be like, could I see, next question is, can I come and see it first so I can, hopefully he gets the read between the lines thing and we don't violate eBay's, let's circumvent eBay so I can go and just buy it from you directly for like $65. You know what I mean? Yeah. And see what else
save
you
him
got.
hassle, save you money. Yeah.
Save me, and then I know I get to pick out exactly which one I want, and hell, maybe he has more shit, because he obviously has a fucking crate of those damn things. He's already sold like 7 or 8 of them.
Yeah.
So, anyway, so he has that. I've been kind of going, I'm trying to see if I can score a heavy sixer for Duke for a right price. I don't know if he's as excited about getting it as I am for getting it for him, but I know he wants it, but he's just like, we were talking about it the other day, and he's like, I don't really know how much I could pay for it. I'm like, I'm not trying to charge you, man. I'm like, trying to hook you up.
Yeah.
But he's so damn generous. I send him stuff, and then he sends me money for it. I'm like, no, Duke, that was a gift. That was a gift, dude. What are you doing? Like, quit paying me. But anyway, sorry. Go ahead, Rich.
Oh no. I was
going to say something about what he sent you.
Oh no. I was gonna say, yeah, I've got a heavy sixer as well. I bought it from the Duke from our site and got it, and it doesn't work. So now I'm trying to mod it to get it to work. So I hate to do that.
Does it have the Sunnyvale sticker on the bottom?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what makes it the desired. I suspect like almost all of the heavy sixers are from Sunnyvale, but when the sticker's there, it's guaranteed. I've done a lot of research on it, and some people claim that some were made in Taiwan, but I just can't imagine because they only made them in '77 and a little bit of '78 before they moved their factories over there. You know what I mean? Like getting a light sixer from Sunnyvale's more uncommon than the other.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that
Yeah.
would be kind of uncommon to find. Is that it actually being a light sixer from Sunnyvale? But that's another thing, man. I'm not that far from Sunnyvale. Like, I could be there in like 3 hours. I keep telling myself I'm gonna go there yard selling one Sunday to find all kinds of prototypes and everything.
Yeah.
And at least go take a picture out in front of the damn old building. It's still there.
Yeah, we've got a site member that lives out there, and he sends me stuff every once in a while. I've got like an Atari calculator, just really cool memorabilia,
That's cool,
you know.
Man.
Yeah, I love that kind of stuff.
Nice. The other thing I was going to say about wanted ads was that they normally are more motivated buyers as well. So that you don't have as many people not showing up and stuff if they posted a wanted ad. Although it's not always true. It helps. All right, next section is our story time. You have a story to tell, any failures, lessons learned the hard way, anything like that. Starting with Chris.
All right, man. I'll try to keep it brief because I go too far all the time. But all right, so I wasn't gonna go out Saturday, right? I don't know, man. I don't know if I was just feeling blue or what, but I didn't have the motivation to go out. But I decided to just fight through it and go. Well, waking up at 4:30 wide awake actually helped. So I was like, you know what? What am I going to do? Just lay here and toss and turn. I got dressed, went to town, got some coffee, and so I start looking around. I got a yard sale app, which is another tip. If you're in your area and you got it, download it because it does kind of help you. Even if you still go to other yard sales, it'll give you like a concentrated, view of what's happening in your town. So I started going on and clicking on the addresses, and one of them happened to be on Duke Street. And me and Duke have been chatting a lot, and so have, stuff like that. And so, I don't know, I was like, man, I got a feeling about that one. I got to make sure to go to that one. So, I no rhyme or reason, but, I got the gambler vibe, man. Like, if you feel lucky, you are lucky. And, you know what I mean? Like, I hear too many people say, man, I was going to bet on that game. No, why didn't you? I knew they were going to win, yet you don't follow through. So I follow through on my gut instinct. So I go to this yard sale, right? And I walk up. Sure enough, lady, she don't fit the description at all. She don't have nothing out. Hey, you have any old video games? She's like, my son has games. He's gonna sell them and blah blah blah. So I'm thinking, great, PlayStation or whatever. And sure enough, she's like, I think it's PS4 or PS3. I was like, nah. I'm actually looking for something older. And she's like, oh, you mean, you know what I have? I have like the Nintendo where you put the things in the top. And I'm like, oh, yeah, the Nintendo. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. She's like, okay, well, let me go get it. And I was like, all right, let me go to your neighbor's yard sale real quick. I'll come right back. So I went. He didn't have shit. So I come back, and I can hear her, like, dropping them. Not from, like, a high, from, like she must have had the bag by her feet and, like, knocked them over. I can hear the plastic. I'm like, oh, shit, that's Super Nintendo right there. I don't know why, but I just knew it. You know what I mean? Well, she did take it at the top.
Well, they're a little harder than NES, and I can picture the sound, yeah.
Right, but I mean, the chances of her having a top loader are probably less likely. I guess you could have a system or whatever. But anyway, so I go around the corner, and sure enough, she's like bumbling over all these, and I'm just seeing all this plastic spilling out. I'm just like, hey, let me help with that. It was a really, really decent lot. It wasn't nothing great, nothing, you got your Mario's, Kart, All-Stars, World. I've already made my money back on it. I'm even right now. The Super Nintendo itself is blue. It's just really dirty. I just got to clean it. But all the parts, the controllers were good. Had 9 games. The only dud in the games were Ms. Pac-Man. All the other ones were like 15 and up, which on eBay that adds up quick.
Yeah.
And so then. The only part that kind of sucked is her 2 sons were kind of like hovering, staring, which is not a big deal because I diffused it. I'm like, hey, you guys out here making sure I don't rip your mom off or what, And they're like, oh no, and then the guy's like, Blue Shell will buy them. He's talking about this local store, right? And I was like, yeah, they will. They're gonna lowball you though. And he goes, no, you're right. They're, like I'm changing the narrative. Like those guys suck. They'll rip you off. He goes, you know what? You're right. I took in games once and they ripped me off. I was like, yeah, right. So then I'm like, well, how much you want? She goes, then the kid's like, make an offer. All serious sounding, right? I was like, all right. She seemed like a 35 kind of person, right? 20 I knew wasn't going to work. 25 was in my range, but I felt like it had to be a 5. So I was like, how about 35? And the sons were like nodding, like, yeah, that's not so bad. And the mom's like, how about 50? And I'm like, how about 40? And I said we'll meet in the middle at 40, but actually it wasn't really the middle.
No.
And I was like, let's meet in the middle at 40. And then, so she met in the new middle at 45. And I thought, you know what, I'm wasting time. I'll just buy the shit. Sure, let's load it up. And it wasn't the best deal of the day, but I mean, easily a couple $100 worth of stuff. But I don't know, I just found it was just cool that, you know, Duke came through and he didn't even know why. I called him up, was talking to him, telling him about it, and he's just like, what?
What does that have to do with me?
Yeah, I don't know, but it was your street, Duke. I don't know why, but I'm going to go to every Duke yard sale from now on. I won't be going to those Derek yard sales, man.
No.
Furby shit we will buy. No.
If you find one of these Furbies there, that'd be
Yeah,
good,
no.
that would be money. All right. Rich, you got any story?
Oh man, like I said, I don't go out and about like you guys do, but I guess I could talk about which is fairly recently, because I mean, I'm sure the other two people that actually listen to my podcast have heard the story already, but no one else.
Yeah, I'm one of them.
My Sega Master Sonic US pickup.
That was really cool. I remember you told me about it and
Yeah.
asked me not to say anything, so I kept my mouth shut. But awesome, man! That little label, that little barcode, man.
Yeah.
Valuable barcode.
Yeah.
That's a very valuable sticker.
So, yeah, the story goes, I was at a local shop, buddy's store, actually. Yeah, he owns the store, but he's not there as much. He has someone that runs it for him that prices stuff out. And, there's a copy of Sonic in the case. And, you know, you go on eBay, you start flipping around, Sonic prices and looking at them. And, you know, you see a lot of $25, $35. What most people don't know is the US version is very, very rare. It's a little sticker that goes over the barcode. And so, you know, if someone owns a store or something like that and they don't know the history or not a serious collector, they don't know about that barcode. So I was like, well, I'll give it a shot. Why not? I don't think I've ever even seen a Sonic, you know, in the wild or at a video game store. So I had her get it out of the case and looked at it. I was like, okay. And, you know, I didn't immediately flip it to the back. I didn't want to be obvious or anything, you know. So I just kind of looked at it and I cracked it open, looked, okay, no manual. All right. Looked at it, the cart, perfect condition. Flipped it over. There it was. It's like, nope. Yep, I'll go ahead and get this one, you know. Yep. So I took it up to the counter and,
Great. The slot machine noises were going on.
yeah, $50 later, yeah. Had a Sonic US cart, and the booklet actually got online for $20, shipped. So yeah, so $70 total in on a Sonic US. So yeah,
That's sick, dude. That's what it's like. That's like about $1,000, right?
Up
there?
Last I saw was $1,300, $1,400.
Yeah.
I heard it was valuable, but I didn't know it was that valuable.
Yeah. Oh, it's
Eric, Lady Q Dog, talks about it, but
yeah.
Yeah, if you can get over the fact, because the thing is, there's nothing different.
Yeah.
It's just that sticker.
Nothing at all.
So if you're going for a complete set, you have it without the sticker. It's just you're going to have some guy like Rich who's going to be like, no,
you don't have it. I have it.
I wouldn't be like that. No, I wouldn't be like that at all. In fact, you know, I had already planned to, you know, just get a European version of the cart. You know,
it's the exact same thing. There's no difference.
Exactly. I had not planned to do that. It just kind of fell on my lap that way, and you know, I got lucky. So
that's such a great find, dude.
Yeah, but I guess the tip to go along with that is just, you know, just know your stuff. You know what you're looking for. And for me, I was a little bit lucky in the fact that I was just at a convention. I had bought a lot of Sega Master System stuff at Retro World Expo the year before. I was talking to my buddies from the site, and they're like, "Oh, are you going for the full set, or do you know about the Sonic and everything?" And I had no idea. You know, I wasn't a Sega guy growing up, so they told me about it, and so that kind of keyed me in when I was in the store to, you know, look up to do a quick Google search, try to find a copy of the label, you know, see what the numbers were, and try to match it up. and that's just kind of how it worked out. But it just goes to show you, you got to know your stuff. I'm not a jack of all trades like Chris here.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I know my video game stuff usually.
but if on the flip side of that, if you were, let's say that game would have been like $300 or $400, like the guy knew what he had but was trying to get money out of it, then you might want to do a lot of research on that barcode to make sure you're not getting scammed. Not by necessarily him, but he could have got scammed, or you know what I'm saying? Like, because I can't imagine there's no fraudulent ones out. Not saying yours, but you know what I'm saying.
I heard there are.
You know how people
There
are.
definitely are. Yeah, there are definitely fraudulent ones out there. I mean, I have one of the local stores I go in. They had a Clay Fighter Sculptor Edition the other day, and I looked at it, and I was with my son and daughter, and I was like, "That's fake." I was like, "I'm pretty sure that's fake." And they had the high price on it. Came back a week later, and it said reproduction, $30.
Reproduction.
Yep.
Yep, exactly. Jesus. So you really do, like you're saying, you really should know your thing, your stuff, but know it from every angle. No, don't just know what you're looking for. Make sure you don't get caught up in the moment and not realize that you're getting conned, even if it's not by the person. It could be the who conned him and he didn't realize it. Because a lot of times I've come across things that were counterfeit, and I do genuinely believe they didn't know they had a counterfeit item. Yeah. And I tip them off to it. Usually I try to do it nonchalant because I don't want to draw attention in their store, or you know what I mean. Like, it's a lot of times they don't know.
I do the same
once
thing.
They know, if they continue to try to sell it at that price and they've been tipped off, now you kind of know who you're dealing with. Yeah. Then like, exactly. Then maybe they didn't know, now they do know, and they still don't care. That's a problem.
Yeah, I've done that 4 or 5 times in the same store over the past few years, and they're really appreciative, actually. So they don't want to sell their customers something that's bogus. I mean, they feel like crap because they probably overpaid for it, but at the same time, they sell them, but they're not hurting that bad.
Maybe you'll help them not purchase from that person again if that guy tries to scam them again. But I mean, if you got a store, you really should know what you're buying. I mean, you got to if you're getting it dirt cheap, that you might overlook some things. But if you're actually paying for something, man, make sure you know what you're buying. Yeah. And like Ian from CU podcast, and he's always talking about guys coming in there with janky stuff, trying to sell them knockoff stuff and bootleg stuff, and he knows the shit. So I mean, typically he could spot it before they even stick it on the counter by the way they're acting or the way they talk to him on the phone. But and they always try to nonchalant. You got this box full of like Joe Montana football and all this stuff, and then all of a sudden there'll be a Musha in there. You know what I mean? It's like, that's not right.
All right. So, stories. I don't have a story. I was going through my stuff trying to find anything, and I can't find anything. Nothing recent that's happened. I mean, my pickups usually are surrounding some kind of story, but that's about it. I did have a guy. Actually, I had not a big story, but Canadian Retro actually messaged me because he's in a Facebook group, and a guy had posted in that Facebook group that he was looking for someone to mod Xboxes. So I happened to be in the Facebook group too, but just didn't notice, and Canadian Retro would message me, so I replied back to the guy and said, yeah, I'm in Waterloo, like, where are you even located? So I guess this guy drives from Toronto to London a lot, which is basically an hour each way from me, drives right past my town, so he stopped in, dropped off his Xbox, gave me $30. A week later, I hand it back to him. He gives me another $30, and it's now modded with 4,000 games on it. So he's happy, I'm happy.
There you go.
Yeah, wasn't bad, and Canadian Retro hooked me up with a connection there. And the guy also was really, really wanting to play the games on the arcade games with an X arcade stick, and I happen to have 2 of them. So he was asking me how that experience was, and I'm like, it's awesome. So it worked out well that he was doing exactly what I've already done with the thing. So that's cool. He got a hookup from a buddy of his who actually bought an arcade cabinet that had a main machine in it and had an X arcade in it. And the guy bought it. I guess his buddy bought it for $400 and just gave him the X arcade stick out of it, which is pretty cool. That's a good friend to have.
Yeah.
All right. Next section is discussion topic, collection update. How do you track your purchases? Anything like that? Do you track things, purchases, sales, any statistics, and anything like that? That's basically for Rich, since me and Chris have already basically talked about that several times. So for me and Chris, it's basically
I do have a quick update though. The Saints scored.
I'll get to you.
33 to 13. Yeah, 33-13. Anyway, it's third quarter. 12 minutes. Go ahead.
It's not good.
So it'll be over in 12 minutes.
The third quarter will be.
Yeah, great.
We have 4 quarters. We're not Canadian.
I don't do football. So my collection update. My gaming budget is actually currently up at $400, $399.54. So that's basically my entire collection has been completely free, and I have made $400 profit out of it, and that profit will be put back into video game stuff. I just need to figure out what I want to buy next. A PS4 again will probably be in there. Actually, that's something I bought recently, was a PS4 for my brother, my other brother. So my one brother bought the PS4 off me that I bought with trade credit, and my other brother said he's looking for a PS4 and NHL 19. He's about to go to the store and buy one because I couldn't find deals with NHL, and Spider-Man haven't been out. Spider-Man coming out, there's a lot of the PS4s that have been posted have been selling pretty quick and at higher prices than normal. So I was trying to get him a PS4 Slim, like a 500 gig or 1 terabyte, and haven't been able to find anything. All of a sudden, a guy posts a brand new in box PS4 with the NHL 19 included in it, sealed, never been opened. He was asking $370 Canadian. We talked him down to $390, and the thing is in store. Sorry, $350, and the thing was in store for $379, brand new. So great deal there for my other brother, and he's happy. And then he went out and picked up Spider-Man that night too. So my entire game collection, yeah, I'm done with that. Next is Chris.
Yeah, my entire game collection costs a lot of money, but I added some stuff though that was pretty cheap. I got this. I got a couple of Atari dust covers that go like a vintage Atari dust covers. Yeah, there's one here. I think one over there. Yeah. I went to the store. I've been like pillaging their Atari stuff. You know, like I got Crazy Climber there for like $3. And,
oh wow.
You know, like just a bunch of nice stuff, and I feel like every time I go, it's the last time, right? Because I just don't imagine they're getting too much in on trade, but every time it's like they must have pulled another box out. So the last time I went, I got a pretty decent stack. One of the premium titles in there was premium, not that big, but minor 2049er, which is probably about a 20 card. Hard to find. The sequel's like $100 card or something.
Yeah,
part
it
2.
is. Yeah.
But the first one's about $20 card. Anyways, it was a really nice stack of games, and it had a Gemini controller, which goes to Coleco made a clone system for the Atari 2600 called the Coleco Gemini. Mm-hmm. So my friend John, painter, NES Pain, he used to be in the NARC podcast with me. He sent me one. You know, he sent me a bunch of crap that he was just like, just take the stuff, and I'm like, all right. And one of them was that. So I didn't have nothing to it, which I imagine a standard Atari AC adapter will work just fine, but I didn't have no controllers. They had that sitting there, made a big pile, $3. Everything came out to $3 a piece. I was like, sweet. And then I went back over there. I'm like, I just got to look again. I was stepping on something. I wasn't even realize what I was stepping on. I looked down. It's a dust cover. I'm like, what the hell? Picked that up, threw that in the pile. Guy comes from the back. Hey, I got another one. And it was a blue one. And I'm like, hey, shit. Anyways, got all that crap for like, came out to like $3 a piece. Wow. I'm just like, man, this is awesome. And I'm going to go back again because there's got to be something I missed. But the funny thing is there was a box that had been sitting there the whole time, and it was all sealed up. Not like sealed, but, you know, like folded. You know how you fold boxes them to themselves. Been sitting there for a while, and I had looked through this stack so many times already, and I still were pulling out carts that I needed. And I look down, and I see this box, and I'm like, man, that's out of place. So I kind of kick it, and I hear the Atari plastic in there. Open it up, man. I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, the first one on the top was a Tunnel Runner, which is about $18, $20.
Yeah.
I've been
CBS Electronics, yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to finish that set, because you know the way it is. There's like subsets within sets.
That's how I collect, yeah.
Yeah, and with Atari, the thing about it is so many of these third party, well, pretty much all of them have something unique about the cart. You know, like CBS has that color to it, and you know, all the stickers have CBS on it, and the Mattel, or you know, the Mattel have a different look, and the Parker Brothers have a different look, and it really makes it kind of fun to collect for. I mean, not all the games are fun to play, but you know, when you can pick them up for a few bucks, it really does kind of scratch that collection itch. So that's what I've added. I got a rare manual in the mail, Chippendale too. I splurged, but I got it really cheap. I've been eyeballing it for the longest. I hadn't seen it on eBay for less than $100 for, I don't know, last year and a half, 2 years. And the guy had it up for $79.99 or best offer, and I offered him $50, and he took it. And I'm just like, hey, I just made a killing on this video deal and video mixer, so
Yeah.
I'm playing with, you know, that's what us gamblers call playing with house money. So I went ahead and gave some of it back.
Cool. All right. I was going to say, if you ever see a Consumers Distributing magazine from 1984 to 1986, keep an eye out for that for Joe of STC Pod.
All right.
I saw your next quote, your next thing there that you skipped about Sears Wish Book, but
Oh, yeah. I did that in 1987. It's, anyways, I've said enough. But
okay.
I'm almost got all the 80s. All I need is 1984. So if any of you have a 1984 Sears Wish Book, not the Canadian version.
I was going to say not from Canada, yeah.
I don't want any of that Canada garbage.
You don't want to buy any moose.
American, yeah, I don't want pontoon or whatever that stuff is. I don't want
Tukes.
buffalo skin hats or whatever. I don't want none of that.
All right, Rich, any stats or anything you want to share about your collection? How do you track your collection if you do?
Yeah, I'm up to about 3,700 pieces in my collection now. That includes games, systems, and everything. So, yeah, making a good dent in it. Running out of room quickly, don't have any more room for shelves or anything. At least until I get my kids out of the house.
How soon is that going to be?
Right, Kurt.
Oh man, I've got a 2-year-old is my youngest. So yeah, it's gonna be a while.
Yeah. I've got a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old, so
yeah. 10, 7, and 2. So yeah, 3 of them.
Yeah, the rookies.
Yeah, exactly.
What the hell's going on, man? I got a guy who just celebrated his first year of marriage.
Oh my god.
But yeah, rfgeneration.com. That's the site that I am one of the directors on. One of the co-directors. There's 3 of us. A lot of you guys probably know Duke Togo from Collector Cast. He's one of the directors, and another guy named Bigman2K, who's been on the site for a long time. 3 of us are kind of running the show now. So yeah, lots of good stuff. We have an Android app that you can track your collection with. And currently, I've actually got an estimate to do an iOS app, so we should have that, maybe within the next year or so if that gets approved. So yeah, we'll see. Yeah, see what our budget is. We're a free site, so if anybody wants to join, you can join for free. Track your collection. It's a really neat thing. So good for insurance purposes, or just to be able to look, see what you have, and so you're not double buying while you're out, which I still do.
Right. I do it too,
how much
man.
you track it, yeah.
Oh, I know I don't have that. Get home, there it is,
There it is. Is that a label variant? Just praying it's a label variant. It's like, no. Damn it.
I've done that several times, especially on the 2600 games. Yep.
Yeah.
All right, so next section is listener questions. We got one listener question here from It's Rocket Sauce. If you have any questions, you can tweet #DDAnswers for us to answer on the next episode, or ask in the forums in the Cartridge Club or in the YouTube comments down below if you're watching the video format. So It's Rocket Sauce says, amazingly for Chris, how do you evaluate pricing for game manuals? It's a multi-part question, so we'll start with that one.
Okay. How I evaluate game manuals?
You mentioned this last episode. You mentioned
the
the
easy
little
way
formula.
is okay. Well, all right. So let's say this is kind of some basic. Let's say the cart's $100.
Yeah.
Then you could kind of assume the boxes. They used to be half. I don't believe that no more because cardboard's harder to find than plastic. So I would say if the cart's 100, the boxes in that ballpark, depending, some boxes are rare, some carts are rare, but for the most part, boxes are always rarer than the carts. And the manuals probably aren't as rare as the boxes, but they're definitely in the ballpark. So if it's a $100 cart, it's a $100 box or close to it. You kind of have to put that manual in the same thing, but you might be able to convince somebody it's worth a half the value. So, whereas with this, that's why I feel really good about the Chippendale 2 at $50. But the easy way to do is just look at the market. Go to eBay, find completed sales, and see if that makes it good for you. You know, and if you look at it and you're like, okay, $50 doesn't hurt to pay for that. Yeah, I tell some people I pay $50, they think I'm crazy. You know what I mean? Then I tell them, look, my little Samson manual sold for $700. So what do you want me to tell you? I'm not the only crazy one out there. It adds up. And the thing about manuals is especially when you got CIB hunters who are piecing them together, that's what really kicks the value up because, you know, you take a complete in box is sometimes worth more than if you piece it out, which doesn't make any sense. But I've seen it. You know what I mean? Where a complete in box, like Scoon, for instance, that's a very expensive game. But the game itself isn't. But the box is super rare, and the manual's rare, and they're rarer than the game. But somehow, when you combine them all together, it's actually more expensive than if you bought them individually. But the problem is the box never comes up for sale. That's why people charge more. So, yeah, pretty much if you're going to go into the sickness of collecting manuals, be prepared.
He's talking about selling manuals, just so you know. This is where the angle he's coming from.
Okay, well, if you're a seller, then what you want to do is compete with completed sales. Go to eBay, find the completed sales. If you want to push the market, set it higher. If you want to meet the market, meet the market. If you want to beat the market, beat the market. It's just pretty simple. But that's the easiest way. Somebody, bass guy, does he go by bass or bass? You can't tell when you're...
It's bass.
Right, Chris. I should know that because he was on our podcast. He was telling me about, you know, he asked me a quote on something and I told him, and he's like, well, I looked in price charting and I looked at game value, and I was like, yeah, that's great, but they don't sell games. You know what I mean? They compile information. That's great. Try that out when you're out and about and tell somebody what price charting is. They're not going to listen to you. They're going to say, no, look, completed sales, I could sell it for this. Your best angle is the 15% or 12%, 12.5%. That's your best angle if you're trying to talk somebody down. But if you're selling, you compete with other eBayers. You're not competing with price charting. So forget the price charting. Go to eBay, look at completed sales, and also look at current listings. Try to avoid the anomaly.
Say that too.
They'll be the one that sells for $100, but all the other ones sold for $50, and all the current ones listed are $40. Well, you're not going to get $100. You might get 50. You're not going to get 100. That day's gone. Now they're flooding the market at 40. That's the market now.
On the flip side, if there's one for 25, that's an exception to the rule, right? One sale, maybe two at the very low end.
Let that guy sell it. Wait him out. Let him go ahead and sell it for 25, and you'll be the next one up. So be patient. That's what I would do. And what was the next?
So do you search out prices on eBay, or is it a percentage of the cartridge? You kind of already covered that completely.
Yep.
I've seen common but popular, like Castlevania and Mega Man game manuals priced higher than less common games. That's just desirability, right?
Yeah. Well, and also, another thing I forgot to talk about is condition. So,
power outage flash. Luckily, my computer's on a battery backup.
Condition is also another thing to keep in mind. So that might be another thing. If you see a very mint manual, it's definitely, and you're selling it, sell it for more. If you're competing with wrinkled manuals or stained manuals or ripped pages or rental stickers.
I was wrong. This is him buying. So his is him. I think he even said Musty as well. They're both trying to get ready for for PRGE on what they're going to buy, what they're going to look for, and what prices to
flip. Right. Well, when you're buying, obviously you want to convince them that it's not worth anything. You know what I mean? Oh, I'll give you $2 or $3 a manual. You know what I mean? That's what you're hoping. When they break out their phone and they, burst your bubble, then there's that. But, you might get lucky. Also, if you can buy manuals in bulk, that usually ends up lowering the percentage. Like, yeah, you might end up paying $4.50 for a manual. You might have paid $3 for, but then that manual that you were paying $20 for might now average out to a lesser price. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Especially if you're at a convention. I mean,
Right.
prices are typically higher. You always want to buy in bulk at a convention if you can. A lot of people will have just boxes of manuals just lying around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They don't want to take that shit home.
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Yeah.
And you know what? Personality, man. I've talked about this a million times. Talk to the guy. Ask him some questions first. Get him talking before you even discuss what you're there for. Talk about something else. Hey, man, how's you guys making some money? How's the convention going?
Yeah.
You know, seeing a lot of interesting people. I don't know. Start bullshitting with them, and then, hey, how much do you want for this? You've already disarmed them a little bit.
Yeah. My second year at Retro
don't
World
let them do
Expo.
that to you.
Yeah.
Go ahead. What?
You both need to repeat separately.
Let's say, my second year at Retro World Expo, there's an older gentleman there, and nobody really liked dealing with him, in our group. And he had some ColecoVision games that I was interested in a bunch, and a bunch that I didn't have. And I'm getting kind of close to a full set now, and just started talking to him, and just my interest in the Coleco games, and just bullshitting with him back and forth. Man, he just knocked the prices down, there at the end of the day. He was just happy that someone else was collecting Colecos. Like, I didn't know anyone collected this stuff, and he's like, I've got a full set at home, I've got a box set, and just knowing that information about him and him wanting to pass these on to somebody else interested in it, I mean, it goes a long way, even with, some sellers that can be a little gruff,
Yeah, and something I hear a lot from people is, I just want it to go to a good home.
Yep.
And I genuinely believe they feel that. And why let them think otherwise? Let them know it's coming to a good home. I'm a collector. That was one of the things I told that lady who was selling me the Super Nintendo and her kids loved that. That one guy even said, "Oh, I respect that." And I was just like, okay, well, that's great, because I am a collector. That is what I do. And, I'm going to sell the crap, but I'm going to buy other stuff with it.
Right.
To keep, you know what I mean?
Yep.
So essentially it's the same thing. I mean, I'm still buying games with the money that I'm, but yeah. And I could have very well kept everything. She just didn't have anything I needed.
Yeah. Oftentimes it'll be that you're keeping one of the games and you're selling off the rest because you wanted that one, but she doesn't want to sell just the one, or you get a better price overall if you do.
Well, randomly she had this game atlas in the lot, and that was one of the things I needed. I've been looking for that game atlas for a long time.
Well, there you go.
I didn't want to pay $20.
All right. And next section is our suggested content. So anything we want to suggest people check out, YouTube video, YouTube channel, podcast, game, movie, anything, TV show, you know how we are. You got anything, Rich, off the bat?
Yeah. Check out my podcast. RF Generation Playcast. Yeah. RFGPlaycast.com. Check that out. We are a monthly podcast, and basically we're a group off of RF Generation that does a playthrough of a game each month, much like the Cartridge Club does. And my buddy Sean and I podcast about each game, and we're getting a little more into where we're doing a lot of bullshitting before, and I think people are starting to really come around to that a little bit more than just the game talk, because a lot of people haven't played some of the games we've already played. So it's going really well. As far as YouTube stuff, I know it's October right now, so I'll throw out a YouTube channel that I really like. I don't know if you guys have ever watched Dr. Wolfula on YouTube. If you're into horror films, it's a great YouTube channel, and probably one of my favorite horror podcasts, Werewolf Ambulance, is one of my probably favorite horror podcasts out there. So, yeah, check those out.
That's a trip watching you update this in real time. I'm seeing you over there on your end, Derek, like typing away, and then I'm looking down at my phone and I'm seeing it like updating. That's pretty cool. No, man. I like.
It's almost like it's the first podcast we've ever done together or something.
Well, the first time I've been paying attention, I guess. Rich, I really do like your guys' side talking. I mean, I'm kind of more partial to that when it comes to podcasts. I kind of enjoy, getting to know the people and knowing their interests a lot more than a lot of times what they're actually the main goal of the podcast. I enjoy the side chat and when they go off script a lot more than the main stuff. So, I enjoy it.
Yeah,
the
well,
rest
and we've got a lot of that feedback as well, and it's been very positive. And we started out the show with 4 people, and I think that was a lot to juggle in the beginning. And it's just down to the 2 of us now, and we've become good friends because we've been doing this, gosh, close to 5 years now. It's crazy, just gone by so fast. But yeah, I think we're on episode 54 already, and we're doing it once a month. So, yeah. It's been a lot of fun, and I think us getting to know each other and being more comfortable with each other has led to some good discussion, and people seem to really like it, so we're just going to keep doing it. Yeah, appreciate it.
That's great.
Yep, I've been listening too. I enjoy it. So my suggested content, I just checked out this video not long ago. It's just a specific YouTube video. The YouTuber's name is TopSpot123. I haven't seen much from him, but he's a retro collector. He seems to have a pretty good collection, and some really good videos. I mean, some of them are pretty old, which is why I assume, he seems like he was bigger a while ago. He had more videos coming out a couple years ago. He's still releasing videos, but this one's from 2017, and it's him trying to solve the problem of Game Boy cartridge display, how to put Game Boy cartridges on your shelf, and what's the best way to display them. And the boxes are huge, but take up a lot of space for just compared to just cartridges. So his solution is actually to create his own miniature. Oh, and now Chris is typing for me. He created his own miniature printed Game Boy and Game Boy Advance boxes, and he's found a cool way to make them fit, cool way to print them off, and they're all from the Cover Project and other sites. So it's pretty good. Chris wants me to mention something that I'm not, so it's gone. I'll have the link to that video. Like I said, the guy's name is TopSpot123, and it's his video was called "Solving the Problem of Solving Nintendo Game Boy Cartridge Storage Display." In his Game Room Ideas series.
Well, I'm interested. How do you guys do it? How do you guys do your loose Game Boy carts?
So my Game Boy and Game Boy Advance and DS are all loose ones. Are all in a binder. I just picked up a huge stack of Game Boy Advance and DS games at a GameSwap or game convention, and they had these coin holders in the pages. So there's just a page that holds a bunch of coins for coin collectors, but they fit Game Boy Advance and DS games pretty good. So that came with that. The regular Game Boy games are in card slots, like for baseball cards.
Yep.
I'm gonna have to check that out as far as a binder for Game Boy Advance stuff, because right now they're just in a drawer. But with my regular Game Boy games, I actually use got it mounted on my wall. It's a wooden silverware, those inserts that you put into a drawer to put your silverware in. Yep. They fit perfectly in those. If you find the right dimensions, you can't get the ones that are tapered for spoons and knives and things like that.
Yeah.
I'll show it to you guys.
I saw it hanging on the wall, and I was going to ask you what it was earlier, but it's hard to tell how far away, whether it was, like, at first I'm like, is that N64? But I'm like, there's no way, they're too small.
No. The TV there.
The other thing I've done is also I've taken a DS box that has a Game Boy Advance slot and printed off the artwork that someone's created for it. For the Game Boy Advance games. I've done that with 2 of them. It's neat. It doesn't look amazing. It looks good on the shelf though, but it doesn't look amazing under close scrutiny because I just printed it at home.
I'll tell you what
I right size and cut them too.
I'll tell you what I plan on doing whenever I get around to it, but I'm just gonna build a shelf for it, and what I'm gonna do is, because they're all in their plastic. All my Game Boy games have the covers, the dust covers that it comes with.
Yeah.
And then I'm just gonna put labels on them.
Like I've got a label maker on the ends of mine.
Yeah. Exactly. That's kind of what because I think there was a guy. He's not very active anymore on Instagram. His name was Matt, and he got a complete Game Boy set, and then he built a shelf for it. And I was like, man, that just looks really good. And it just kind of goes with all the other crap that I already do. So.
Yeah. I like my binder. It's just awkward to put somewhere. That's the only problem with it. Is like my shelf doesn't hold it, right? Because it's made for games, right? Or for DVDs. But
they just tear. The ring.
Yeah,
All
I
the
have had a couple
pressure.
pages tear.
And I worry about the pressure. It's like once you get that thing really thick.
Yeah, I'd have to have multiple
Okay.
binders, right?
Yeah, now you're looking at a whole bunch of I mean, it could be cool though. You could put the binders on a shelf if you had a deep shelf, and then you can label like A through Z.
Yeah, I
or
was gonna
A
say
through
alphabetical too.
Yeah, that's actually pretty cool. I mean, that'd be a cool thing too.
Yeah.
It would be a space saver, but that seems like that's destined for a bottom shelf kind of setup, as heavy as it would be.
We're getting into shelf cast territory.
I know,
Yeah,
right?
be careful.
If only there was such a podcast. I was going to say, Discart has videos on a lot of displaying things, and he goes over Game Boy, but I don't know if he does. Yeah, I think he talks about how to actually store them
He's
as well.
talked about all of them. Yeah.
And then
he-
someone
he
else
has.
had a
It's
video
a lot of
before
fun.
that, too. Someone else had a video that I can't remember who it was about Game Boy games. It was pretty good. It was mainly focused around Tupperware containers of a certain size that you could get, but I can't remember who it was. Okay, so next person for recommendations is Chris.
I've been watching. Well, actually, I already finished it, but the Orville. I mean, I know I'm a little bit behind on it.
Right. Season
I
two's
I
coming
was.
out.
Yeah, season 2's coming out. I guess next month. When I saw the commercials for it, I like Seth MacFarlane a lot,
Yeah.
but the thing about Seth MacFarlane, he to me looks like he would be like a brilliant actor. Now, follow this is like an Inception thing. He's a brilliant actor playing a really bad actor who thinks he's playing a good actor. Do you follow me here? Like, he looks like a guy who thinks he's really acting great, and he does a great job of looking like he's trying to act great, but he sucks. But his comedic timing's great. I do enjoy the show. I just don't. I think he's just not. Well, I don't know. It works. I thought it was going
You
to be.
think he's better in the background as like a director and producer and writer and stuff?
Because he's got a great voice because he voices several of the Family Guy voices. I mean, he's great voice. He's very funny. He's a great writer. I just don't think he's a great actor. But that doesn't deter me from the show. I thought it was just going to be a spoof. That's kind of why I didn't watch it.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like watching Next
And
Generation.
early on, I heard it's not just a spoof; it's the best Star Trek since Next Generation.
I'm
heard.
telling you,
So.
it feels like Star Trek. Trek. I always say
Whatever.
Trek. It feels like Star Trek if it had humor in it, which every now and then they mix in some humor.
Yeah.
It is a very
But
funny
metal.
show, but it also has a very serious tone to it at times, and most of the episodes kind of ended on a serious note, which. I actually like that. It feels like you're watching Star Trek: The Next Generation. The background noise, a lot of the shots, the way it. Yeah, I mean it really feels like what Star Trek should be doing instead of kind of what they are doing that's polarizing their fan base right now, which I'm not really into the culture, but I did enjoy Next Generation, and I think I might have watched Deep Space Nine, and I remember liking that at the time, but anyway, if you like Star Trek and you haven't watched this, which you probably already have, but if you haven't, check it out. It's pretty good.
Cool. I agree. All right, so plug in everybody. Rich, you can check out Rich. He is at thesinglebanana on Twitter. He is the site director, as he said, or co-site director of RF Generation, and he's the co-host of RF Generation Playcast. Go listen to it. And Chris is at CWR2, that's CWR and the number 2 on Twitter and Instagram. I am Derek of Two Dorks, that's TWO Dorks on YouTube, where this will be posted. And also check out the Cartridge Club, cartridgeclub.org. We kind of mentioned them a couple times, but that's kind of gaming community we all kind of hang out with and talk to everybody there. So cool bunch of people there.
And don't forget to sub to my channel that has 0 content.
Do you have a
now
YouTube
featuring?
channel?
Yeah,
Oh,
you
no.
know I
I didn't know if you meant your own. I
I
thought maybe you had a CWR one as well.
Oh no! Now
Okay,
featuring.
now featuring.
The channel with no content.
You could take like Chris Curtis's video and put it up there, right?
Yeah, I could, but I want to do. If I'm gonna, he already said he would be involved in something, so I don't know.
Right.
Maybe next
Behind
time
the scenes.
maybe we'll do something. I don't know.
All right, sounds good.
But go ahead, sub the channel. I want to get that custom URL. I already got 12 subs. I don't know why, but I want to get to 100. So I'll be the only channel with no content and a custom URL. That's my goal. And then I'm going to go for 1,000, and I want to get revenue for no
But
content.
are you remembering to follow everybody else? Like, you need to take that down. Sub
yeah.
to everybody. That was your pitch. Your
That was
pitch
the
was we
pitch.
follow 50,000 people.
Yeah, the pitch kind of changed a little bit.
Oh, come on. All right.
Well, we'll get there. We'll keep going. When I get to 1,000, I will sub to 500,000 channels. That's my goal. All right.
I can write a script and start subbing you to people.
Right.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for listening or watching. Thank you to my guests. You guys are awesome. And thanks. Cha-ching.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks for having me.
Oh,
Oh, yeah?
probably help if I turn the damn things on.
Nah.
Oh shit, that was way too loud. Hold on. Jesus.
So yell loud right now. Really, really loud.
Good. Alright. And I could just repeatedly curse throughout the whole podcast. You have to do a lot of editing.
It hasn't bothered me yet. I've never edited a curse word.
Oh, alright, well.
I'm sure when you talk to different people at different places, your accent sways a little bit too.
Of course.
'Cause I have that.
I'm a
Yeah.
chameleon, man.
Yeah. That works
It's
real good at garage sales, though.
In sales, it's called mirroring.
Yeah.
Hold on a second.
Shit's climbing, man. Too many people with deep pockets are getting into this hobby. And
Yeah.
used to be you could grab an arcade cat for $100 or something, but now, man, like even a Donkey Kong will run you about 1,000 almost.
Yeah.
I'm seeing a lot of barcades popping up, too, so they got to be buying up the machines, too,
Yeah,
right?
they're gonna be filing
They are.
bankruptcy in a year or two.
Well, thankfully, a lot of them are going MAME with a lot of their stuff. They're not. I see some of the ones I've
Oh,
gone
the ones
to. they're
around
not
here
allowed.
are all authentic.
Yeah,
Here, too.
I know.